What if the god of religions, Christianity, Islam, Hindu, etc., was actually the devil and his greatest success was convincing millions of people that he was the one true God? That would be the position taken by the Gnostics. The Gnostics were considered so heretical that they were all but wiped out by Roman Christian Empire. Very little remains of what they were like or anything actually. God damn it, Roman Christian Empire. Effers took my religion, can't have crap in Rome. Well, you know what they say, when in Rome. Do the Romans. That's just historically true. They can't stop us if we have sex with them. Are there any resources concerning their beliefs left? I'd love to learn more. Elaine Pagel's books The Origin of Satan and the Gnostic Gospels. Among Gnostic Christians was the belief that the God of the Garden of Eden was evil, denying mankind all kinds of knowledge and truth, and that the serpent in the garden was representative of Jesus offering wisdom and knowledge to people. It completely flips the script on the Old Testament. I've always been fascinated by this idea. Not sure how much is true, but I've read that the ancient Sumerians held similar beliefs. Basically, they had two primary brother gods known as Enki and Enlil. Enlil is paternal, strict, militant, lawful, impatient, and proud. Enki is nurturing, creative, wise, artistic, free, caring, and humble. Enki creates humans, much the same way that Adam and Eve are created, and Adam even shares a similar name, Adamu. Enki loves humans, Enlil wants to use humans as labor. Enlil is the older brother and is given reign of the sky, aka the heavens, while Enki is relegated to the mines that the humans are put to work in, the underworld, aka hell, because it's not too fun to be in a mine. Enlil thinks humans are too independent and can't be trusted, because they revolt, so he imprisons the originals in a garden fortress. Enki disguises himself a serpent and shares knowledge of the world with Adamu and his wife. Adamu and his wife leave the garden and this pisses off Enlil. There are other humans that exist outside of the garden fortress, as told in the Bible, though it makes no sense in the Bible, but it does make sense in the Sumerian stories because Adamu and his wife aren't presented as the only humans that exist in the world. Enlil then decides to wipe humans off the face of the earth by using floods, yeah, the same floods you read about in the Bible. Edit, there is even a Noah character named Sudra who builds an ark. The story is almost identical to the one in the Bible. Eventually, Enki makes the rest of the gods, including Enlil, feel kind of bad about it and let the humans live after all. Humans begin to worship them as gods, since they apparently have the power to end the world. Better make sure you're on their good side from now on. Enlil starts presenting himself a deity. But this ends up creating an even bigger rift between Enki and Enlil. Enlil starts to get petty and begins trying to amass worshippers. Enki doesn't really need to try that hard, because humans just like him more. This pisses off Enlil, who begins to spread the idea of monotheism, as in, you're not allowed to worship anyone but Enlil, he is the one and only God from now on. This helps explain some of the weird stuff in the Old Testament. Like, there are times when God is like, I am love embodied and you are beautiful creatures who I love and adore and I will always be with you. And other times when God is like, listen up crap heads, here's what the deal is. Accept it or I'll leave you here to die and never come back. It makes sense if these are two different gods talking to the people. But, the Old Testament retcons these multiple gods into a single god. And so begins a long disinformation campaign to make Enki look like the bad guy, when in fact he is the true friend and creator of humanity. Conspiracy theories say that the war still rages on today between God, aka Enlil, and Enki, Satan/Lucifer. Most ancient religions end up falling to one of two types: militant, strict monotheism, or loose, unorganized polytheism or even anti-theism. Those religions that are strict militants are factions aligned with Enlil, and those that are not are semi-aligned with Enki. Christianity is therefore revealed as a faction of Enlil, with some nice stuff about love and forgiveness thrown in to tone down the rhetoric, but ultimately, as you can plainly see, the strict militant core of the religion is really the most active ideal. Same with Islam. These religions spend almost all of their energy converting people and preventing any new information from swaying blind faith. Religions that do not deify any entities and instead focus on growing internally as a human, Gnosticism, Buddhism are therefore factions of Enki, though by nature they are less organized and less dogmatic. This is a very summarized and bastardized version from my fuzzy memory. There are a lot more details and more characters in the story. Personally, I like to entertain these ideas but do not fully subscribe to any of them. Edit, typo fixes. Thank you for rewards. Edit 2. There is also a part where two gods are fighting naked and one god bites the other god's dick off. It's a fun read. Edit 3. Oh. Another very interesting tidbit. Heard of the old dude Methuselah who lived for centuries? Well, the Sumerian kings list is a record of how long the kings of Sumer reigned. The kings that ruled after the deluge have reigns that last for years or decades at most. The kings that ruled before the deluge? Their reigns lasted for tens of thousands of years. One might assume that this is just them notating religious beliefs, but the king's list is not at all presented like a religious belief but a historical record, and there is no indication anywhere that the super long kingships are based on faith or religious teachings, though modern scholars surely assert that they are. Edit 4. The more I think about it, the more details I recall. Another interesting thing is that Enki is represented by a fish symbol because the underworld includes places below water. Recall any other loving creator deities that are represented by a fish symbol? Edit 5. Oh. One more thing that I found fascinating about Sumer. Have you heard of cuneiform writing? It was the written language of the Sumerians. It consists of little wedge-shaped letters. The prefix kun is an ancient word for wedge-shaped, and was used to describe female genitalia. This is where you get words like cunnilingus, the language of vaginas lol, and vagina. So Sumerians basically wrote in vagina lettering. This is really fascinating, thanks for sharing. You should read the Book of Enoch. It corroborates a lot of this story. Supposedly an old Jewish text lost to the sands of time, it was preserved by Ethiopians, the lost tribe of Judah. In it are stories of Enoch, Methuselah, and Noah, who are grandfather, father and son, respectively. The stories are wild and interesting and seem to suggest that these gods were alien entities, and many of them sinned by mating with humans, creating giants and other abominations, which is the impetus for the head god to purge the world with flooding. Enoch and his offspring were considered pure and allowed to live. Angels helped Noah build the ark. I'm sure there are lots of things I'm missing and others I'm forgetting or misinterpreting, but it's fascinating that these stories span not only many different cultures, but also the history of humanity that has been lost. A relevant Bible passage comes to mind. Genesis 3:22, NIV, and the Lord God said, "The man has now become like one of us, knowing good and evil. He must not be allowed to reach out his hand and take also from the tree of life and eat, and live forever." Also, what I find interesting is that God, who is called YHWH, Yahweh, speaks of us and we in Genesis. Christian theologians like to explain this as the singular God speaking in terms of the royal we, or alternatively they conjure up the concept of the Trinity here. I recall reading before from religious historians that the tribes of Israel used to have a pantheon of gods before they went full monotheistic, and the language in Genesis is a relic of this. If you read it from that stance, the passage I quoted is YHWH telling his fellow gods that Adam and Eve have gained knowledge by eating the fruit from the tree of knowledge, but they absolutely must not be allowed to eat from this other tree of life, and presumably become completely godlike. It's true. Yahweh was considered one of the gods, specifically a god of the Canaanites, along with El, Asherah, and Baal. Asherah was the most powerful goddess and often seen as his equal. El and Yahweh are commonly grouped together in modern times. El Shaddai is a common hymn stating the Almighty God. From I understand, El is just the common noun God, where we get a name of God as Elohim. Elohim is actually plural, which further suggests multiple gods. This gives those good guy Lucifer memes a whole new depth. Don't forget that Lucifer actually means the light bringer. Like Prometheus? Actually a hero who fought the gods to bring knowledge to mankind. Not only did Prometheus do that, he actually created humanity out of clay. Then, seeing their suffering, he stole fire from the gods to warm and feed them. Of course, he was caught and chained to a rock where an eagle would peck out his liver every day. Kind of a Christ-like figure, no? More like Christ is kind of a Prometheus figure, order of operations. Yes, actually. Depending on how you interpret it all, Lucifer's main crime was for believing mankind deserved knowledge and rebelling against God's orders, thus leading to his punishment. Almost exactly like Prometheus. Just like how Christmas is actually originally based/closely related to a pagan holiday, much older belief systems always tend to bleed into newer ones as well. Not quite. If I remember correctly, Lucifer was an angel sent by the true God to fight the fake one. According to Gnosticism, Lucifer was mistranslated for morning star, which was what they called Venus back in those days. I never did fully understand why the serpent was considered evil and a deceiver in that story. The response typically in Catholic school was that the serpent was Satan, which is evil because reasons, and questioning such things is silly because reasons. But it's basically confirmed in the same story that everything it tells Eve is technically true. The main issue being more that the tree of knowledge seemed to give the knowledge needed to properly understand the consequences of eating from the tree, which was sort of a effed up situation to put humans in to begin with. The Gnostics, Myth, Ritual, and Diversity in Early Christianity by David Brack is a good book for the topic. It's pretty similar to Buddhist beliefs, and was probably influenced by Eastern religions like it. Effectively, the true God created a perfect spiritual realm and all was good. But one of his creations, the Demiurge, God of the Old Testament, more or less, creates the physical world and traps all the angelic spirits in flesh prisons for a cycle of rebirth. Gnostics differed on whether this was him being malicious or just misguided. The true God sends Jesus down. Again, Gnostics differ exactly on how this was done and what Jesus was, to teach humans the path to gnosis, or knowledge. Sounds similar to enlightenment, which people can use to escape the bonds of this world and transcend to the celestial plane. How dare you imply that our merciful God is evil? We'll kill you for that. Religion, God is merciful. Some dude, I'm just not sure I want to believe in religion, kills dude in some ritual. God is merciful. This is the bad place. Jason figured it out? This one really hurts. Oof, yeah, this is a low one. Holy forking shirt balls, this thread is great. That's it, reboot. Snaps finger. Eleanor, come on in. You're in the good place. Hey there, I'm Janet, I think this is yours. Cheaty? What is that, a soup? Is it a cactus? Jason is your soulmate. Tahani is your soulmate. Your boss snap. Back to the time knife then. Best thread ever. I know, I love this show. It's forking great. Holy mother forking shirt balls. Guys, there is no bad place because guess what? We're in the bad place. Oh dip. That show was so much better than it had any business being. Edit, the show is the good place. I watched Cheers when it was on and always thought Danson was just okay. But he freaking knocks it out of the park as Michael. Ted Danson is one of the best reasons to watch that show. I cannot wait for enough time to pass so I can watch it again. He's definitely my favorite part of the show. Recently stumbled across it and immediately binged it. It was really good. I think it's also good that they ended it in a way that made sense and didn't drag it too much. The last episode I remember watching was the one where they visit the guys whose picture is in Michael's office. Is it worth getting through to the end? The end is extremely well done. It's one of the best endings to a show I can remember. The ending made me cry. I thought it was really well done. Absolutely yes. It has a fitting end, which is a rare quality in most TV shows. Sweet baby Jeebus, yes. One of the best shows network TV has ever put out. I can't imagine how they pitched a show full of theoretical ethics lectures. Fortunately, Michael Schur had basically blind trust from the people at NBC after he was either responsible for or had a hand in so many hits for the network. He has talked about that before though, that it is almost impossible to imagine The Good Place ever making it to air if it wasn't for that trust in his track record. Like he was given the ability to make pretty much whatever he wanted, and a comedy about ethics and morality is what he came up with. Pretty nuts. I have been wondering about this. Knowing how TV pilots work, or used to, I was wondering how it ever got picked up because the first episode, or season really, gives you very little clue of what you're about to watch. I felt like I'd been tricked into watching something more intelligent than I signed up for. Edit, spelling. It was created by one of the main creators of Parks and Recreation. I know, I just didn't look good at all. I just assumed it was terrible until I binged the whole thing about 3 months ago. Oh fork. Shirt. Mother forking shirt balls. When I read shirt balls, I immediately got reminded of all the laundry I have to do. Please God. Save me. Devil. I have a stomachache. That boy really needed some anxiety medication. Problem is he probably couldn't decide which psychiatrist to see, and if he did, couldn't decide which pharmacy to fill the prescription at. Michael snaps for the 420th time. What did you do in your previous life to end up in this soul prison serving a life sentence? Bought the wrong apples at the grocery store and accidentally supported child labor, deforestation and global warming. Probably the almond milk. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to be the first to know about Red Rabbit Reader's new videos. If you like our videos, please like them on YouTube and share them with your friends. We welcome your comments below. Press to start another of our videos.